guys all ready? Yes. All right, your host tonight, she's a singer, a songwriter, I'd even say a visionary. Please welcome Madison McFerrin.
Hello. Hi, everybody. How you guys doing? How you feeling? It's officially cold outside. Don't know how you guys feel about that. I'm not into it, let me tell you. I told my boyfriend the other day, I was like, we're in that period where it's only gonna get colder, you know? No respite. So, starting on a great note. How many people here know who Sissieretta Jones was? Like 0. 1. Okay, sweet, awesome, that's perfect. I'm here to tell you who she was. So, Madame Sissieretta Jones, she was a soprano opera singer in the late 19th and early 20th century. And she was regarded as like the greatest vocalist in the world. They called her the Black Patti because there was another Italian white woman who was an opera singer who was supposed to be amazing, and so because they couldn't think of anything else, they just called her the black version of Patti. But so anyway, she's traveling around the world. She's getting medals from dignitaries. If you look up pictures of her, she has medals all over her chest from different people that she would perform for, giving her rubies and diamonds. And she was the highest paid African-American vocalist, I think maybe actually the highest earning African-American period of her time. But despite that, she couldn't get an opera contract with any of the opera houses because she was black. So because of that, she decided to start her own vaudeville show that was all people of color, all black folk, so that they wouldn't have to perform with the humiliation of minstrelsy, which is the main way that black performers were able to do their craft on stage at the time. And blackface is very humiliating. Nobody wants to do that, but that was the only way that they could make money and do what they loved. So she started her own vaudeville show, and it was, all of her people, and it also gave her an opportunity to sing the opera music that she loved, since none of these opera houses would give her a contract. So when it was time for me to come up with a platform, I knew that I wanted it to be women of color based, and she was top of mind as to somebody to name it after, because she was on For Us by Us before Solange had a big song and before there was a whole clothing company with the same name. She was really out there trying to give people a platform. I should also mention, so she quit because her mother got sick, and because of that, she ended up dying penniless, without even a gravestone. So it's only until recently that people have even come to know who she was. So I also wanted to honor her in that way because, not enough people know about her in general. My grandfather was an opera singer. He was the first African American to sign a contract with the Met, and this is in 1955. But even coming from that history, I didn't know who she was. So I want to honor her by honoring other women of color, showing you that we rock, So thank you guys so much for being here and being a part of this platform, the Sissieretta series. Yeah. So first up, we're in for some laughs. I saw this comedian at another show, and it was a lineup of comedians, and I loved her so much. She was fucking hilarious, and I'm so excited that she gets to be on this series. She was one of the people that I was really excited to bring on board. This is Kenice Mobley. She is a filmmaker and comedian who's appeared on Sirius XM and Fox's Laughs. Oh, yeah. This isn't my handwriting. And she hosts the relationship podcast, Love About Town. So give it up for Kenice Mobley, everybody.
Hi. Oh man, some of you look very serious. Thank you for that. That helps me. I'm in a weird place right now. I just got back from vacation with my mother. Yeah, it's like when you're single in your 30s, you go on vacation with your mother. That's the rules. You just have to do it. Me and my mom are very close. Some people say too close. It's to the point where my whole life, people have been telling me that I need to prepare for the death of my mother, that I need to prepare for it, But no one prepared me to deal with the fact that at 65, she still has better tits than me? Like, I think some of you do not relate. Okay, fine. But I feel like some of you are thinking like the run-of-the-mill nice tits that you would see in any grocery store, you know, just like regular, right? But my mom's tits are so nice, they change the pornography I can watch. Have you guys ever had to scrub through a video to make sure that at the moment of orgasm, you don't think, I should call my mom about Christmas, you know? Like that's how nice they are. Some of your faces still very, very blank. How many of you know what your mom's tits look like? These are all people with good relationships with their mothers, okay? Their mothers love them, all right? That's why they've seen. It's either that or that they were raised by a single mom. I'm not sure which. No, but like single moms, you're running around, you're doing it all. You don't have time to put your tits away every time. Like one's going to get out. These are the rules, you know? And like, her tits are fantastic. Mine are fine. Like, they're perfectly acceptable. They'll do in an emergency, you know? Like, they're not saving lives, but they're there on the ground. They're like helping, you know? One guy did once say that they were the best tits he'd ever seen. But I don't know about you ladies, but have you ever dated someone where you're like, you wouldn't know? I can tell you've been looking at mediocre this whole time, so please. And look, okay, so my mom's single mom. My father abandoned the family when I was 6. No good, right? I know. It does make me wonder how shitty are the tits on my dad's side of the family. Like, to mix with perfect and get fine, I imagine that they're terrible. It's honestly, it's to the point where like his abandonment is the second thing that I'm mad at him about. It's very frustrating. I don't want it to seem like there's like this high bar of tit we all have to achieve before we have acceptable tits. Has anyone in this room like exposed breasts and had someone say, ew, gross? Has that happened to anyone here? Okay. I don't want to put the spotlight on the women for this. Men, have you ever had a tit forced upon you and you thought, now I'm soft? Has that happened to anyone? Then you all have the best tits. You all, I just think you're awesome. Fantastic. Let's get into it. I date. I'm very sorry about that fact. I date. No, have you ever looked back at all of your relationships and realized that you were the asshole? Have you guys taken a long, hard look in a mirror lately? It's interesting. I don't know. My friend, I date, I feel like I should stop, but I date, my friend described me as tragically horny. It's good to know that it's gone past a laughing matter, and now I'm horny to the point where everyone has to die. I didn't know that was a place you could achieve. It's fine. No, I date. I will say I have a very specific type of man that I'm interested in. It's villains. Like, I'm not interested in a bad boy. Bad boys are lame. I am exclusively looking for a bad man, okay? Someone who you can tell just by looking at them that they've shut down 3 community centers. You know, just like bad. Right? And I would never want to date a guy that hits me, obviously. But I would like for all of my friends to be a little suspicious. Like, he goes to hug me, and everyone in the room, like, flinches a little bit. But for me, it's in a fun way. Like, that's just what I want. No. Now, I do date a lot in Brooklyn. How many of you, Brooklyn, anybody? Somebody sighed. I'm so sorry. How dare I have affordable rent? My bad. No, I live in Brooklyn. I date in Brooklyn. And I will say the type of guy that I date there, if he lived in the Midwest, he would be a serial killer. But like here in New York, he just can't afford the square footage to support that kind of habit. Do you know what I mean? He's very poor. What is he gonna do? Move his roommate's lean cuisine out of the way to put my severed head? He's not gonna do that, all right? Like, this is... Guys, have you ever dated someone so poor that you become safer? Have you tried this? No, because, like, a man can't push you into a van if he can't afford a car. This is math, people. This is how we protect ourselves. And with billionaires out here fucking kids, we have got to watch our backs. No. Wait. This is Manhattan. Are there any billionaires here tonight? No, if there are, I can play young. You know, we could make this work. Is it... I will say, don't fuck kids. Just in case anyone don't misconstrue what I said, don't write an article about this. I am against it. You all should be too. You are? Okay, great. That's on you now. Look, dating villains comes with complications. I was seeing this guy. I was telling my therapist about it. This guy who's into rope sex. And my therapist was like, Kenice, what is rope sex? Is it when you insert a rope? And then he proceeded to make a hand gesture like he was trying to thread a needle, which is a weird way to find out that your therapist is a loser. Look, we talked it out. The dude that I was seeing is into bondage sex, and it's not my thing. Like, I was just doing it because I'm a nice person. So, like, out of the kindness of my heart, I do charity, you know? And I don't do anything 50%. I go all in, you know? So I read all the articles, and I learn about the community, and I watch all of the tutorial videos, okay? How many of you have researched bondage sex lately? I saw one discreet hand. The rest of you are lying to yourselves then? Okay, cool. No, if you guys don't know, it is just a collection of videos about knots, okay? It's just knot video after knot video after knot video. And the first one's always something like, hey, I'm Steven, and this is my slave, Stephanie, and this is how I tie her up for sex. Sure, but the next one down, because they pull them from all over the internet, the next one down is always something like, hi, I'm Timmy, and this is the Boy Scout approved way to tie a canoe to a post. You know? And that's sexually confusing. Like, how am I supposed to feel, you know? Most of them are the first type, and whoever you think would be in these videos, that's exactly who's in these videos, okay? It's like, take Renaissance Festival people and then keep going. These videos are where the horse girls become horse women, and it is troubling to see. It's honestly, it's part of a disturbing trend that I am calling the nerdification of sex, and I am not here for it, okay? Like, of some of the men that I've been with recently, it's like, why do I have to have a Comic-Con level knowledge of cosplay to fuck you? Those costumes are expensive, and it's rude. It's rude because I fucked in high school when it meant something. And these people are gonna come brand new into my space? Absolutely not. This is why I've been fucking jocks for the last 6 weeks, okay? Because high school movies would have us believe they're the bad guys, but jocks are like plumbers, okay? They come in, they do the job, and then they leave. They have other jobs. Whereas every nerd that I've been with has been like, I've researched 16 ways to make you come. And it's like, do I have to be here for all of those? That's a long time. And I don't know if you guys have experienced this epidemic, but ladies, have you guys experienced this epidemic of men who are too into eating pussy? There's always one. Look, I'll follow up with another question. Ladies, who in this room is getting your pussy ate the right amount? There are some women who are sitting next to men and they are blank. It's interesting to me. It seems like some conversations need to be had. You guys need to figure it out. Also, I will say this is how, like, the level of applause, this is how I know that there is a healthy amount of lesbians in this room. Do you know what I'm saying? Like this, no, because like my lesbian friends are all like, me. 9:30 every morning, exactly how I like it. And I'm like, I wanted it. Damn it. Like, no, I wanted that, like, all my friends are coming out as bi right now, and I was like, maybe one day okay, I'm just waiting for it, I'm thinking it's like mustard or olives, like a taste you grow into, right? And I'm just hoping, but it's not. It's like, it's honestly, for me, it's a little embarrassing to still like dick, which is the American cheese of genitals, if you know what I'm saying. Like, it's, like, what? It's so, because you're like, my base is smoked Gouda, but like, at night, people keep offering you these grilled cheese sandwiches, and you're like, well, I guess I'm hungry, like, I don't want to, fine, it's whatever. Look, back to pussy eating. I won't date a guy that doesn't do it, because that's what feminism is now or whatever, but at a certain point, it stops being like you're doing a nice thing for a lady and starts being you just shouting, but I'm a nice man, into my vagina. And I don't know who that's for. like you still have to do it, of course, but context clues, like read a room. Like, it shouldn't get to the point where it looks like I've been in the tub too long. Like, just stop, chill. This is the hill I am willing to die on. Look, but I have to leave you, but I want to say, like, overly sexual stuff, overly kinky stuff, that's not really my thing. Like, my kink is not tying a man up as much as it is weighing a man down with my expectations. Like, that's what does it for me. Just slowly changing a man over time until he's better. And I was watching you guys backstage, and I was just like, I've assessed, and there are exactly 5 well-dressed men in this room, okay? 2 of them are gay, which means 3 women recently completed a successful campaign. Do you understand? And to those women, I say congratulations. And to the rest of you, good luck in your continuing endeavors. You need it. I'm Kenice. Have a great night. Bye.
We'll take this one for now. Hello. Hi. Give it up for Kenice Mobley, everybody. I was backstage having a grand old time. So we're going to keep it moving, and we're going to do the panel part of the evening. I'm going to get my Oprah on as best as possible. Obviously, major shoes to fill in that regard. But I'm having 2 wonderful women who both work in wellness spaces. The first is Iffy Obi, and she... Ooh, look at that! Yes. See, the Fit In Bed-Stuy, right there. I also go, and it's amazing. Welcome. And then we also have Attia Taylor, who is the owner and starter of Womenly Magazine. Come on out. And we're going to chat. New mics. How you guys doing?
Good.
Thank you guys for being here this evening. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So I wanted to have a discussion about wellness, particularly in the colored community, people of color community, the Black community, And you guys both work in wellness in different ways. So if you work more with the body, and Attia, you're a little more with the mind in some way with your magazine. I was curious, how did you guys start down the wellness path?
Listen, I'll go first. I think, well, particularly, I had a long history with like my personal wellness, going back to my family's history, or long history when it comes to issues, that particularly impact our communities at disproportionate rates. Like, that all runs through my family. It's a story that's very common for people of color. But I would say, focusing more on how I kind of got started in kind of the business side of wellness was, mainly I wanted to try to diversify wellness as much as possible. And so I thought initially, maybe I'll put myself in some of these spaces that I kind of enjoyed. So I was taking classes and I would only see myself. So I figured, if I become some type of instructor, maybe some type of influencer in a way, then people will see me and want to start also coming to these spaces. And I realized that wasn't really working. People weren't trying to, leave, their neighborhoods and have to travel an hour, have to pay, $40, $50 for a class to enjoy their wellness. And I said that there has to be a different approach. There has to be a different way of getting wellness to the community and to the people that I want. And I realized I had to go and do the work. So I actually had to bring fitness to our neighborhoods, to where we are, and make it accessible. And so that was the start of my journey, just, bringing it to Central and East Brooklyn, making it right in our neighborhood, just like it is in the neighborhoods of Chelsea and Soho, and it's easily accessible for them. I wanted to make it easy to access for us, and that's kind of just how it started in a nutshell.
Nice.
Yeah, I think similar to Ife, growing up, I always had an interest in learning about myself. I had so many gaps in learning through my family because we just had this cycle of not talking about things, and it was a lot of silence. And I was just so curious, so I was going to find it somewhere. So I kept looking and digging and reading books and watching, there was no YouTube then. But I was finding something. I was finding so many things and just wanted to learn about health and sexual health and reproductive health. And I got to college and I studied communication at Temple and realized how in love with media I was and the ability for media to connect with people. And then quickly learned about, the gaps that existed for my own mother, who was in her 50s and had, gaps in the information she had about herself and her body. Me, I'm lucky because I seek this stuff out. But for a lot of people, especially in Black and Brown communities, we have a lot of other stuff going on. So it might not always be easy or intuitive to seek out information on preventive health. So got to New York, started interning at a magazine, and wanted to work in media and continuing that, but didn't see myself in media or magazines. I didn't see my family, so it just felt right for me to start a magazine for women's health and art and media, and that's kind of how I got down that path and have been working in nonprofit for the last 10 years and hopefully creating better access for women of color, non-binary people to understand their preventive health.
So wellness nowadays seems to have really been commoditized, and particularly on Instagram, you see a lot of different influencers pushing this idea of wellness. What does wellness mean to you, actually, when you get to the root of it?
I would say for me particularly, like when it comes to the physical aspect, when I think of wellness, my goal for everyone is to be able to perform what we call the activities of daily living, right? So whatever their lifestyle is, I want them to be able to to do it without pain, without as much kind of physical hindrance as possible. So that's my goal for everyone. So whether it's losing weight, and I think there's this kind of sense of just like, oh no, let's not talk about weight loss, but that's important for our communities, right? That's important because it directly correlates sometimes to a lot of health issues that we have in our
Particularly
communities.
in the
Black
in
community.
America.
So it is something that we talk about, and I'm not afraid to talk on it and speak about it. But wherever someone's ailment is, I want to help them get through it, because a lot of times a stronger body is preventative health, right? So we can avoid the surgeries and the issues coming down the line. So when I think of wellness from a physical aspect, like that's what I really focus on when dealing with the body, but also dealing with the mind, right? Like it's a great benefit of getting that kind of physical health, but you also get that mental, we deal with so much, particularly as people of color. We carry so much burden. We carry our parents' burdens. We carry their parents' burdens. We have our own from whatever we watch. When we watch, we're watching the news, we see ourselves, being killed. We see ourselves, we just deal with so many issues. And just like someone can have trauma from like their mom not saying they love them enough, we can have trauma from seeing ourselves in all of these situations that are happening. And so there's a lot that we carry, and being able to just have that moment where you're just worrying about yourself and you're just focusing on yourself and trying to de-stress or whatever it is you're trying to do to just not focus on everything that you just had to deal with, that's something that's important for us as well. It's moving meditation. And so my crew over there, I love them. But it's moving meditation. And so for people to just have that moment, that's also a part of wellness, to be able to just have that moment where you can just focus on yourself for a second and not have to think about the world as we always have to.
Yeah, absolutely. I met Iffy because I started going to her studio, the Fit in Bed-Stuy, and I became absolutely obsessed with Pilates, and a lot of it was for that very reason, because it's like you can't be out of it when you're in that reformer machine, because if you make the wrong move, like you're in trouble. And so it was part of what I loved about not just the strength training of it was just the fact that it was a point in which my mind was like so centered and so focused, which I think is really important for us to have those moments of, like you said, moving meditation.
Yeah.
And I think I want to get to what you think about wellness as well, because like you do focus on, with media, being able to give people guidance in a similar way.
Yeah, I think especially when it comes to media and magazines and TV, we tend to think of wellness as breathing and yoga, and it is a lot of those spaces. But we also, the more I get into this work, I see a separation between that and the really important aspects of your health as it relates to science and day-to-day and stress and just things that you might not think about. So we've had to kind of learn how to pair those two things. So in our magazine, we'll talk about breathing, but also we'll talk about cardiovascular issues, and we'll get really into the nitty-gritty of something that's a bit scientific and really health heavy, but we'll also bring it back around and talk about like qigong and different exercises you can do to calm yourself down, or we do special recipes. And I think, like you said, it's been kind of commodified, so it's hard for us to kind of bridge that gap between the two. I would like to see it happen more often, where we talk about how the work you're doing in yoga or in your breathing classes or in any exercise or wellness class comes back around to being beneficial to your health and your well-being, as it relates to your long-term health, as it relates to your daily health, and anything in between that.
And I think I want to add on to that is that it is also a moment to not just focus on yourself, but to also support others, right? Me as an instructor, like I get so much joy from supporting you guys in your physical health. What are you saying, Tanya? But I get so much joy in supporting you guys, maybe killing you guys a little bit. but also in just having like real, true, and honest conversation. Like, it's one thing I think a lot of places, especially when it comes to fitness studios, a lot of places you can walk in and it's just a transaction, right? It's just you came in, you worked out, and you leave. There's no moment of genuine connection. And those connections are important for us to really kind of just like understand ourselves sometimes. Like, if I open up and I'm vulnerable with you, then you get to open up and give yourself that moment to kind of like get things off of your chest and that moment to connect. And then we have those moments where we can support and lift each other up. And a lot of times we need that, particularly as women of color, particularly as Black women, we need that a lot of the times. And so that we know that we're kind of like not in this alone, because again, like, we just carry so much. And I think people look at us and they feel as though we got it, she's strong. You know, we always hear that, she's strong. But, you know, you always got to check in on your strong friends. Mm-hmm. You always have to. And I think that particularly at the fit-in, that's what I've tried to get across.
Yeah, absolutely. How integral do you guys think community is to wellness?
I think it's extremely integral. So a huge part of our outreach and our strategy is to bring community into learning and understanding ourselves. That's why we paired the health information so heavily with art. So we pair it with submissions from painters and musicians and all kinds of visual artists to really help people see themselves in the health. When someone's telling a story, we did our 4th issue on Black maternal health. In this country, Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die due to issues related to, due to die in childbirth than white women in this country. And we did our issue on Black maternal health. And we had stories from so many people, women, Black women, telling their stories about how they were mistreated and how to help another woman going through this, or as a GYN, how to advocate for yourself. And so I think it's so important to have the community around you, like you mentioned, just being there for each other and really saying, I see you, I understand, that happened to me too. Mm-hmm. There's so much acceptance and visibility in hearing someone tell a story that's like yours or similar to yours. And I think if we don't lean into that in our major institutions, we're going to have a really big problem. And I mean, we do have a really big problem, but we need to continue. we need to lean more into community in our major institutions and our systems to really understand where people are, because we're not meeting people where they're at.
Do you think that's difficult in America? America seems to be such like a crabs in a barrel, types of society.
I just think if, to change the world, you start with your community. So you can only you do what you can and you set the example. And then the goal is just generally for that to just continue to grow and people to kind of see what's happening and see how, people are changing, health is changing, bodies are changing, and for it to just like hopefully catch on. Like, my goal is to have, it doesn't have to be me that's doing the fit-ins around the world, even though I want to. It doesn't have to be me that's doing all these types of studios around the world. People can hopefully see it as an example and see how many, women of color especially are embracing Pilates and movement and just, really like sinking into their health and supporting each other in that journey. And then more people would hopefully, get the same idea and just, continue to do it. Like, we're seeing, Bed-Stuy grow in terms of health options now. Not just myself, we have a spin studio now. Like, more things are coming in because they see how important it is for us to have those options. So my hope is that it just continues to happen.
How do you guys feel about being at the forefront of this conversation? It really feels like wellness among the women of color community in particular, or just like the people of color community, Black and brown people in America in particular, it really seems like there's a much bigger conversation happening about wellness and self-care, which I know that there are some issues, some people have issue with the term self-care itself. But I'm curious as to, one, why do you think we've been left out of the conversation? And two, how we can continue this conversation even more so as a community.
Well, I think because we live in, a capitalistic state, we work on, who benefits from commodifying wellness.
Right.
That's what it comes down to. And often in our history, we've been left out of all of those conversations, no matter what the industry is. We've been left out as it relates to taking something from us, which was originally ours, and, using it to, make money. So of course we've been left out of it because it's not made for us, to begin with. So that, and I think it's coming back around because I'm seeing so many conversations like this conversation. And I went to Sister Song in Atlanta about a month ago, and there were so many women of color, Black women, Indigenous women, reclaiming the space and talking and using their power to really bring other women in, bring other people in, and just really whatever you want to do is fine, but we're going to take care of ourselves at this point because it's time for us to do that.
Absolutely. And just to add on to that, I think of the history of Bed-Stuy in particular, right? Bed-Stuy, kind of East Brooklyn side. And, when we talk about redlining and things like that, and for so long, people didn't want to come into our neighborhoods. It just wasn't financially lucrative for them. It was deemed as dangerous to be in our neighborhoods. And so historically, we had to create our own businesses to serve our people. And I think that's just now, that's just all coming back, right? It's just if we want this to happen, we need to make it for ourselves. And Black women are the fastest growing group in terms of entrepreneurship. And because we're seeing that if we want things to happen for us, we need to do it ourselves. And so I think that's a big reason why it's all coming back in trend. And now because of that, businesses are trying to, there's all these influencers now, and businesses are trying to jump in, and Justin and Stanley's everywhere. And, but at the end of the day, as long as, in my opinion, as long as Black women are more knowledgeable and about their health and more focused on their health, then it's generally all good.
Well, on that note, we're going to open it up to the audience for questions. If anyone wants to ask Iffy or Attia anything about the fit in and or womanly, don't be shy. Don't be shy. What do we got? Oh, yeah. Hey, Dave.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I want to say thank you, Madison, for having this. It's really dope.
Thanks for coming.
Very much needed in the community. Thank you, ladies, for your words and wisdom. Can you tell me, what do you think is an unexplored space in women of color's wellness that you think needs to be explored or further developed?
Unexplored space in wellness for women of color? I mean, there's so much more that we can do, when it came to Pilates, it was is Sonia here? Yes, I am. There you are. So Sonia is my fearless leader for Black Girls Pilates. So she created a group that brings together Black women who teach Pilates. It's about 300 of us around the world. Which but I think even there, we're trying to get exposure to more women like us, to show that this is an option, this is a path that you can go down in training others in the Pilates space and in this modality. I think just in strength training, just in general across teaching, there's a lot more than we can do to get us more into these spaces. And I think as far as studio ownership, there's a lot more. So there's not many of us that own studios. And so there's a lot more that we can do in that space. And I particularly think that there's a lot more that we can do as far as bringing it into our community. Like, I want to emphasize that. Like, there's opening a studio and being in Chelsea and being in Soho, but that's not where we are. And you can't expect us to go out there and have to cover your rent that you're paying out there, which we know is insane, right? And I get that you have to make money, but that's not what we're trying to do. And so, like, if you want to do the work, you have to be where we are. And whether that is opening a permanent location there, or just like getting there and doing like a pop-up or whatever it is, but you have to come to where we are. So I want more people to see our neighborhoods as an option and not be afraid to take the chance on our neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Yes, that was great. The first thing that popped into my head was heart health, heart disease, stroke, hypertension, killing us, killing our community. And we did our first print issue on heart health, and our cover, the woman on our cover was Erica Garner, who died of a heart attack at like 27. Stress is killing us, the oppression, and I just want to educate. I just want us to educate ourselves and educate each other around our risk factors, our diet, our health, and how our stress levels relate. And I really want people to really just understand how important it is to take care of yourself and know your numbers, go to the doctor, get your checkups, especially at a certain age. Just really be vigilant about your personal health and I'm going to use it, self-care, but you can use it in however way. But I really think heart health is somewhere, maybe we can make it more popular. Let's put it on the internet.
Heart health. Somebody write a song about it.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
There's a question.
Okay. I think we have time for one more question.
Thank you. I guess I can pose this to both of you. Since you guys work in different mediums, you're working in print and in digital, and you're doing fitness and wellness. What have been your hurdles in that respect? Because digital media is changing, print media is almost non-existent now. With the expensive rents and everything, trying to find a space to do things, doing pop-ups, like what have been your, both of your hurdles, and how have you tried to overcome those?
I would say probably my biggest hurdle was there's little things here and there where you talk about, I'm one that never wants to ask for help. But when there's funding opportunities, you just kind of hear. I actually just recently got turned down for a competition that I applied for, and it was, oh yeah, we just don't feel like this would scale, so we're not really interested. And so those things hurt me, not because I didn't get accepted. It's more like, so you don't believe in what we're trying to do, and so those sometimes hurt me. But then I look back at I'm like, well, I'm already doing the work and this is what I want to do. So I, just tap into that. So I would say that's probably one thing. The other thing was maybe when I launched, I didn't know, I had no example to look at. And so I just had to hope somebody walked into the door. I just had to take the chance, and see if the community would embrace what I'm doing. I'm trying to bring Pilates, which is something that is still kind of a bit foreign to a lot of people, not even just people of color, just like a lot of people. It's like Pilates is not like yoga in that sense. And so I just had to hope that people kind of trusted me as a Black woman. I was kind of scared going into a new space. I came from marketing video games, for 12 years. So it was now I have a fitness studio. So it was a different space that I was entering. So there was a bit of nervousness there, but the community embraced me and I embraced them back.
Yeah. So what you said, funding has been a challenge for us because, as you mentioned, print it's just it's an interesting place for print right now. And to want to start a print magazine in 2019 or 2017 when we started, isn't always the best thing to do or the popular idea, but our strategy, we had to take a different approach because not everybody's online. Not everyone has access. Not everyone is going to go for information. So our strategy was just, hey, here's a magazine, open it up. Maybe you take something from it. If you take one thing, that's great. So we raise money to give them away. We're not into printing magazines for sales. That would be great if we were, and we do sell the magazine, but we use all the funds to share them at community centers and clinics and places that people don't typically, may not typically have the proper access to care or preventive health information. We also run on a team of 40 volunteers, which is a lot of work. Everybody's just so passionate and so interested in helping people, but that's privilege. Not everybody has a team of people who are really interested in this subject. So the challenges are, I don't come from a background of knowing how to run a business. I don't come from a background of knowing how to run a magazine. I had to learn a lot from scratch. I had to pull my friends and my family together to get this done. And that just, goes to show how passionate we are to do this work, because there are barriers, especially when you're a woman of color. If you're a Black woman, you're a brown woman, there's barriers. And if you have to be that much more determined to get shit done. So.
Yeah.
Story of our lives.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
So make sure you guys check out Iffy at the Fit In and check out Womanly, which is Attia's publication. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm so grateful that you guys came.
Thank you for having us.
Next up, we're going to have some music by the incredible Adeline. She's doing a little stripped down version of her party set, which if you haven't checked her out, please do. But you're going to check her out now. So, hey, look at you guys. You're lucky. So everybody give it up for Adeline.
I almost don't need a mic. This is one of these shows where people actually really listen. So, guys, we can't mess up. Thank you so much for having us. Madison McFerrin, my friend, I love her. This will never end for just another day before we walk away. Just another day. When I wake up with the sun, feel it rise over my face while I watch your wake sail, but just can't figure out what I'm doing here, or if the earth is really round, 'cause I have no idea. should I cry just for fun? Go to church on Sunday, put some flowers in my hair. I still can't figure out what I'm doing here, or if the earth is really round, 'cause I have no idea. Just another day, just another day, where we can pretend this will never end. For just another day, before we walk away, just another day. My mind is a little bit freaky. Sometimes I feel like getting wasted. Tonight it might be the last. We should find a place to hide for just another day. Feels good when it hurts. Feels alright, but it's so wrong. It could all crash and burn, and we're running out of time. Where do we go from here? Wait for the world to spin around, 'cause we have no idea. Just another day, just another day, where we can pretend this will never end. For just another day, before we walk away, just another day. My mind is a little bit freaky. Can't lie, I know that I'm not perfect. Tonight might be the last. We should find a place to hide for just another day.
This is Morgan Wiley on, I usually say keyboard, but tonight it's piano. Jaleel Bonton on guitar. With everything coming down the way that it is, hold on to me, I'll pull you out. Strangers will come and go. It's out of our control. Want to be coming home. You're all I wanna know. If the sky should fall, then let it rain slowly, so I can take my time. Holding you right here in my arms, the world could come apart. Let it rain.
people come and go. They're blowing up your phone. Then you're all alone, airplane type of mode. These city streets can be so mean. Ooh. We never know what the future can bring. I'll be alright, you're in between. And if the sky should turn to sea, then let it rain slowly, so I can take my time. Holding you right here in my arms, the word could come about. Let it rain slowly, Julia. Strangers will come and go. I want to be coming home, and if the sky should fall, then let it rain slowly, so I can take my time. Holding you right here in my arms, the word could come about. Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain, hey. Slowly.
Thank you so much. I think we should do magic. Julio, I think we should do magic.
There you go.
A little bit more
There-
rhythm.
there-
We weren't sure of doing another slow song. We have lots of songs. Or doing something a little bit groovier. What do you guys feel like? Oh, that's not groovy! Sorry.
They're quick, too,
You
like,
see,
nah,
that's
nah,
what
nah.
happens, and that sound comes out of my ear. Okay, let's do a groovy. Let's do it. Just do that one. You can snap your fingers or clap your hands.
dust and the wind has started to crystallize. Is it magic? What you doing? Is it magic? What you doing to me? Ooh, hey, ooh, ooh, hey, ooh, ooh, hey, ooh. What you doing to me? You made my eyes to water. You magnify the fire. You reignite my desire. Oh, electrify the wire. You take my mind to places uncivilized. Dust in the wind and started to crystallize. Is it magic? Or what you doing? Is it magic? Ooh, what you doing to me? Ooh, hey, ooh, ooh, hey, ooh, ooh, hey, ooh. What you doing to me? Is it magic? What you doing? Is it magic? What you doing to me? Is it magic? Oh baby, what you doing to me? Ooh, hey, ooh.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Give it up. Give it up for hello.
Thank you.
Give it up for Adeline, everybody. Yeah. He's got a Bob Dylan concert.
He's
You
going
can't
to see Bob
go
Dylan.
to.
I'll take your pedal. You know.
So can you
Teamwork.
tell? This is amazing because so I've seen Adeline play several times, but it's always in like a disco hype situation, and this is the first time I've seen you really strip down an acoustic, and it was so lovely.
Thank you.
It was so lovely. So tell the people where they can see you next.
The next show is in New York at Brooklyn Bowl, January.
Ooh.
Vicky, is it 9th or 10th? 9th? Thank you. At Brooklyn Bowl, and it's part of the Winter Jazz Fest, and we're opening for Lee Fields. Oh, she's there! That's my manager. Woman manager.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're opening for Lee Fields, which is super exciting.
Nice. Yes. And if you haven't, please check her out on Spotify. Follow her on Spotify. People don't know that that's really important to do with your favorite musicians. Follow her on all the things. What are your social medias?
Adeline, Adeline.
Lucky. See? Madison McFerrin is like a 15-year-old white girl, or was last time I checked. So
we gotta talk to her.
It's okay. It's okay.
Madison
McFerrin as a handle's a little long, I think.
What's yours?
It's Mad McFerrin.
Oh, that's cute.
Because I'm also crazy,
cool.
so
that's
it's like
perfect.
part of it. It's
I
a
was
play on
thinking of
words.
Adeline. Or Madeline.
Oh, Adeline.
Or,
Hey.
But yeah, mine was available. I mean, it wasn't, but we female manager.
Hey, got it.
They make it happen.
Well, thank you so much for being
Thank you for
here.
having me. It's so nice. Thank you so much. Is this one I'm walking out?
I think so, yeah, you can do that. She looks so pretty. Always, always, without fail. Adeline, everybody. Thank you guys so much for being here. This is the second out of 3 residencies that I'm doing in conjunction with WNYC and the Greene Space. Did you guys have a good time? Thank you for supporting women of color. If you didn't see, there is a clothing rack outside presented by Pause. They use all ethically sourced materials. I just acquired one myself. Really simple, nice stuff, so please check them out. That is our featured artisan of the week. Again, my name's Madison McFerrin. Tomorrow is a very big day. I am dropping my new EP in I guess it's 3 and some change hours, you know? I'm not nervous at all. I'm totally fine. I am not stressed. It's great. I'm really excited though, and I'm having an EP release show tomorrow night at Baby's All Right. If you guys are free, you should come through. Melanie Charles and James Tillman are opening up, and if you don't know who they are so phenomenal, and I will probably be the worst person of the evening. No, I'm just kidding. It's going to be great. But they are really incredible, and I think that you should support them as well. But thank you guys so much for coming and supporting this series, for supporting WNYC, for supporting women of color. I hope you guys come through to the last one, which is going to be January 7th. We're going to have Dwendita and some awesome folks, you know, just gracing this beautiful stage. It's such an honor to be able to use my platform and this platform in conjunction with WNYC to create spaces to honor these women of color who are doing really amazing work in our community. So give them another round of applause. But yeah, so Five Boy's gonna close it out for us. Don't forget to follow everybody that you saw tonight on social media, myself included. My EP comes out in a couple hours. I would love if you guys listened to it and shared it and all those things and come to the show tomorrow night. Thank you guys so much.